Welcome to the Celebrity Gourmet Podcast, where we feature top bakery and specialty food entrepreneurs from around the world and share stories and tips on how to create a successful life in the baking world.
Hi, I'm Odette Danello, the host of the Celebrity Gourmet Podcast, where I interview bakery owners, especially women from around the world, to hear how they live their fun, creative lives with financial freedom while running their businesses. I want to encourage you to go back and check out our past episodes. I interviewed Olga Sagan, CEO of Seattle's beloved Piroshki, and learn about how her brilliant pandemic pivot. I also interviewed Katie Pope, founder and CEO of Blue Star Donuts, Portland's premier luxury donut brand, and Sarah Brooke, founder and CEO of Dessert Gallery, Houston's most awarded dessert bakery, and learn about her philosophy of adding love to everything she makes. I have here May Ee Fong, who is the founder and CEO of Singapore's favorite luxury cake brand, Bob the Baker Boy. When May Ee Fong first started her cake delivery business in Singapore, she had zero culinary education or professional baking experience. In this podcast interview, we're going to find out how she went from being a one-man baker at home, learning skills from YouTube, to growing an amazing team and running one of the most followed and revered bakery businesses in Singapore. She's baked cakes for major global brands and is now managing a multimillion-dollar bakery company. Today's episode is brought to you by Celebrity Gourmet Ventures, Celebrity Cake Studio, and Dragonfly Cakes, my family-owned and operated specialty bakery in Tacoma, Washington. At Celebrity Gourmet, we have been baking joy into all of our artistically designed cakes and desserts for over 25 years. We are proud to work with our vibrant team of cake designers and bakers who help to celebrate the sweet moments in your lives. To learn more about how you can celebrate yourselves or the ones you love, please visit us at celebritycakestudio.com and dragonflycakes.com. I wanted to give a quick shout out before we start our interview to Entrepreneur Organization Asia Pacific chapter, because that's how May Ee and I met. We actually just met last month. So May Ee, can you just tell the story of how we met?
Good to see you again, Odette.
Oh, I wanted to tell everybody who is using audio only that May Ee is inside a taxi in Singapore, and I'm in my pajamas with a virtual background because it's 9:21 p.m. my time, and what time is it in Singapore?
It's about 12 noon.
It's noon, so it's lunch for her,
noon.
and
It's noon. Ta-da!
It's Betty bye time for me. That's what I used to sound like. Betty bye. But here I am. We are chit chatting, and I'm so happy you're here. So can you tell our listeners like how we met? Because I thought it was cool.
Yeah, so I'm so glad to be part of Entrepreneurs Organization because that's where we met, Odette. So I remember there was this trip that we made to a museum in Manila. And I just turned to this lady beside me and asked her, hey, so what do you do for a living? And she shared with me, and that's you. You shared with me that you were in the bakery business as well. And I was so pleasantly surprised because in Entrepreneurs Organization, the place where we meet a lot of business owners to journey our entrepreneurial journey together, right? I rarely find a business owner that also runs a cake shop just like me. And to me, so that was amazing. So we were able to resonate with each other on all our problems, the common things that we face. And it was such an amazing feeling.
Yes, it's not very common because Entrepreneur Organization is an organization of founders and CEOs of businesses that are $1 million revenue or more, and a custom cake business. not very many go up to that level. So it's such a feat for you to have started, just learning from YouTube to growing this amazing organization. So I wanted to know, like, how did you get started?
So I first graduated with a degree in accounting. I knew nothing about the bakery business except that I enjoyed baking from home. So I first started saying, hey, actually it would be nice to own my own bakery, right? But let's start with coming up with the recipe first. So I just like any other home baker, I just Googled for recipes online, tried to do it. And then later I didn't like the result. And I started to put on a scientific lens to it where I said, okay, so how would adding additional eggs or adding additional flour, changing the type of flour, change the overall recipe? And
Right.
after like a very difficult journey, I came up with what I thought was the perfect chocolate cake recipe. Yeah, and I started to sell it over Facebook and Instagram, and that was how I started.
Oh,
Yes.
oh, nice. Okay. Facebook and Instagram. Okay.
Yeah. So in Singapore, rental is very, very expensive. I never ever thought that I would open a shop or let alone a central kitchen. Yeah. So I've
Right.
always thought I'll just keep it within my home and I'll bake with my own home oven and sell it from home. And so that was how I just chanced upon this model of, selling online and delivering it to people's houses. Mm.
So you used to bake yourself and then would deliver it.
Yes, I would do everything myself. And of course, with the help of my family members. So I still remember the times when I deliver a cake and I'm very fearful of dogs and cats. So I had to overcome my fear of dogs and cats so that I won't drop the cake when I deliver to people's houses in case they
Oh
own
my,
one.
wow. How did you
Mm.
how did you get the name Bob the Baker Boy?
Yeah, so I'm someone that loves to laugh a lot, and stand-up comedies are just some of my favorite things. So I remember at that time when I just started my bakery, I was just watching this comedian. His name is called Bob. Yeah, and I was just laughing at all his videos, and my family just said, "Hey, if you like Bob so much, why don't you just name your bakery Bob? Since it rhymes, right? Bob the baker, Bob the baker." And
Oh my
so I
God.
said, "Oh, okay." Just name my bakery Bob the Baker and then add a boy behind because it sounds cute.
Right.
And so Bob the Baker Boy was born. Now the story is I want to make people happy, just like how Bob made me happy. Mm.
Oh, I love that. So are they surprised that you're this amazing Asian woman? And they're like, where's Bob?
So a lot of people thought that Bob was really the baker behind the brand until they see it's a young woman.
Oh my God. So
Yeah,
how did you
people are usually surprised.
I was surprised. I was like, Bob the Baker Boy. You would think he would be
Mm.
May's Cakes or something. So how did you transition from being a home baker to going into a commercial kitchen?
Mm. So I think okay, so now if I were to look back, actually I feel like the home baking days were actually the hardest days. Yeah,
Right.
so those were the days where I worked like 16 hours a week and then I baked till my hands were blue. And then so home bakers can definitely resonate with this problem where after you bake for 16 hours, you go back to your phone and you see inquiries saying, hey, why aren't you replying me? But you're doing everything yourself, right? So I think I got really tired and I told myself I really needed more help. But in order to hire, I needed to have a shop space. I cannot hire um, I cannot hire and continue to stay at home.
Right.
And after doing some calculation and math, I said, okay, then I think I'm going to rent a space because only if I rent a space can I hire bakers to offload that duty. Yeah, and do things that are a little bit more strategic for the brand. Mm.
Right. And then so you how did you get your first space?
Okay, so Singapore rental is super expensive. I'd love to open in a mall or in the town, but actually the truth is I just picked somewhere that's really near my house. So I picked this space for very, very practical reasons, not because it has high walk-ins or traffics,
Right.
but it's primarily because it's near my house so that I can shuttle to and from in case I needed anything as
Right.
soon as possible. And that the per square feet was a decent price. Yes.
How did you
That
fund it?
was all in the consideration. So I saved everything that I earned from my home baking days, and I poured and reinvested everything into this shop and my first few hires. Yes.
Oh, that's amazing. So you were at home, you just started, and then you just kept growing and you saved your money and got
Mm.
your space. And did you ever, are you still in that space or did you go bigger?
Yes, so that was my first space. So to briefly walk you through the journey, it was a 300 over square feet space.
Right.
And in a year we decided that hey, we actually need a separate baking unit. We grew to a 600-ish square feet space. Then we moved on to a 1,500 square feet space, and now we are in a central kitchen of about 4,500 square feet.
That's amazing. Yeah, I would definitely love to come again, and I would love to visit your store. We talked about that when we were in Manila. That would be amazing.
Yes, likewise.
So I know that you have done, like you have gone viral in so many different ways. You have like the money cake, like when you pull money
Yeah.
out, like that's huge and popular. So tell us about like how did you go viral? Like, and how did you become like the go-to for all these famous, stars in Asia?
Okay, so let me answer the questions part by part. So um, I wouldn't say for the money pulling cake we went viral, but more like we became popular because of that. We were not the people who created this concept. We were just very close followers of this trend. And because
Can
it
you
was
explain? Sorry to interrupt. Can you explain to our listeners what the money cake is?
okay, so wait, sorry. Is this a trend um uh is this trend something that is also available in the US?
I don't see that it's a trend.
Oh,
We've done it at the bakery. We've done it at the bakery maybe just a few times, but I've seen it a lot in the Philippines, the money thing.
Yes.
And I think more in Asia than the US. I have not seen it a lot in the US now. So go
Yes.
ahead
So
and
so
explain it.
yeah, so in Asia people always say 恭喜发财, means may you get rich, right?
Right.
So yeah, so in Singapore, in the Chinese culture, which is in Asia, wishing people to get rich is a very auspicious greeting during their birthdays. And so I think this concept came up from the Philippines, and then we just followed it. So what happens here is we will put money into plastic sheets, transparent plastic sheet. We will roll them in a toilet paper roll concept, hide it in a cake, attach it to a topper, and then on birthdays, the birthday celebrants will just pull out the topper vertically and money will roll out. So a lot of people think that it's a very fun concept to surprise people on their birthdays. Yeah, and that was how that came about. And why not many bakeries do that? It's because um it's really very troublesome to get a lot of cash. We use tens of thousands of cash every week for this cake, so we need to prepare that amount of cash. We need to go to the bank every um every other week. So it's not something that is the most time efficient lah.
Yeah. So wait, what's the current exchange? When you say tens of thousands of Singapore dollars, that's it.
Singapore dollars. Yes.
So you would be pulling cash out from your bank to fund this cake, these cakes, but your customers are paying it
Yes, correct.
upfront.
So we have a money pulling account. So every time someone buys a money pulling cake, they will put the amount that they want in the cake and deposit into this holding account. And this holding account, we will deposit everything out from the bank every week. in the denominations that we want. So like $2, $10, $50. So I see you shaking your head. I'm also shaking my
Incredible.
head inside. Yeah, it's not a very efficient process, but it's something that delights. And I think we are here to make people feel very special, loved, and cherished on their birthdays. And
Right.
that's that extra mile that we go to make them feel this way.
That's incredible. That's amazing that you I know. That's so then you have that. So then from there, did it go from there to the custom design cakes, etc.?
Okay, so no, we started custom design cakes first before the money pulling cake. So the money pulling cake was just a trend that we wrote on that people still like till today. How we went viral for other reasons were number one was content on our Instagram to continue to come up with content that we think will interest the audience. So I remember we had one content that talked about how to mix colors. How do you make a pale yellow buttercream look more whitish? You know, and that had like millions of views. So that was the first time we hit virality.
What did you put in? Titanium?
No, we just put purple coloring.
Purple coloring.
Yes, just a little bit of purple coloring into pale yellow buttercream, and it'll look a little bit whiter. Color
Oh,
cancellation. Yeah.
that's also, I was like, oh, titanium dioxide? No, okay, it's purple coloring. That makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yes, it does. Yeah. So that's what we did. Yeah.
So you started teaching, basically, it's online. Like it basically became, your content became more of a teaching moment for the people that were that were following you.
I think for us that the constant challenge is how can we engage the people who are following us by not just spamming them with pictures of cakes and promotion, but
Right.
about how can we create value in that space. How can they today, when they follow our account, they can learn something from us, or we can establish ourselves as an authority in the cakery space, cake design.
Oh, I love that. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. So it's not just product.
Yeah.
So you're basically just, it's more of like your service. You know, you're teaching, it's educational.
But we are also mindful to keep that nice balance between, because we are actually, after all, still a product company. And I would say all the little tips and tricks here and there, the how-tos, they are the icing on the cake, pun intended.
Exactly. So now your place, is it a walk-in? Do you have a retail, or is it more of a delivery service still?
So till date, it is still more of a delivery service. We have no intentions to go to retail for now, because I still think that in Singapore, retail is a very, very expensive model. And yeah, so we primarily market online, people order online, and then we deliver. So it's more like a cloud kitchen concept where we have a central kitchen where we bake, we decorate, and then we deliver.
What about, do you have a delivery service, or you have your own drivers?
Yes, so we have half of them that are in-house, and the other half that will help us to buffer for seasonal orders.
Oh, do you ever do wholesale?
Wholesale. Okay, so yeah, that's an interesting question, right? Because now we are actually starting to explore doing corporate orders. So in the sense where today, if you are a business owner and you want to delight your teammates or your clients, and every year we have so much gifting to do, but so little time. So we do kind of like the birthday subscription service or a festive
Oh,
gifting subscription service
yes.
where we calculate by per drop. And we have a fixed number of designs. All you need to do is to give us the name, the contact number, the address, and we'll deliver in your stipulated date. So everything is planned in advance and it's so fuss free.
How is that going? The
Good.
subscription service.
Good. We just started it about 6 months ago. And we find that there are increasingly people who want to delight their clients and their teammates that are coming on board this program.
And how did you market that?
So we had people, so all we did was to find key opinion leaders in these spaces to share how all of these will benefit the team culture as a whole.
You said key, what is that?
Key opinion leaders. Key opinion leaders. Yeah.
Right.
Correct.
And how did you find them? How did you find key opinion leaders?
And these are the friends within our circle. HR influencers, business leaders.
That's amazing. What about like, do you do any kind of wholesale other than that? Do you do groceries or do you do restaurants, food service?
No. We do not have intentions to go to that space for now.
Yeah, it's hard to scale, right? The whole food service bit.
I would say because our kitchen is not designed for that, because and I'm sure if anybody, you can resonate with those problems very much more, in a sense where you need to slice the cakes, and then the texture, the design of the cake, how long before the cake dries out, all of these matter when we think about supplying to restaurants and cafes.
Right. So
yeah, and I feel our product was not designed for that for now.
Totally understand. So I wanted to just ask you really quick. I know you have a family. You have tell me about your family life and how you balance it with running a business.
Oh, let me think about how I can answer this question. So I belong to a very tight-knitted family. I started my business with my family beside me all the time. So they were the ones who supported me in everything that I wanted to do. And even though they invested so much in my education, all the way to 21 years old, when I said, hey, actually, I don't want to work outside. I want to start my own bakery business. And they just said yes without a doubt. And they were just there to support me throughout. So at the start, my mom and dad, they were the ones who really went out and helped to deliver the cakes while I could just focus on doing the cakes at home. You'll be surprised to know that it is like that all the way till now. Just that my mom's job got upgraded, so she became the delivery manager, and she manages the deliveries, the route, the problems, and the delivery drivers. My dad is really just the sideline. He's retired, happily retired, taking care of like two of his cute grandson and granddaughter. And the reason why we are still giving him some cakes along at the side is to promote active aging. Yeah, so that he doesn't just stay at home, right? Yeah, but
active aging.
But yes, to promote active aging. And I'm a strong believer of that anyone that retires, you still continue to do a little bit of work. Yeah, so you keep your mind working, like, oh, okay, I need to follow the GPS. I need to go up and down, I need to walk a little bit and fit in a little bit of exercise. To me, I feel that's good. Last time I used to think that, hey, my dad is so old and I still make him work. But I have a very different perspective now. As for my mom, I think she loves her job.
Well, how is it working with your mom?
Good. Other than we are talking about work almost non-stop every day, but even my sister is in the business, and I think we have a very good working relationship where they respect that I make the final decision, but at the same time they are there to support and share their perspectives. So I feel that as a family we really complement each other, one another. Yeah.
That's amazing. So you have this team and you have your trusted group of people who help you run the bakery. So you have many eyes within the organization.
Yes, and I would say that okay, so when I first started, I shared that I wanted to hire, and until now, my first three hires, they are still with me.
Nice.
And yeah, and they are also the trusted go-to people in the organization. They trust me, I trust them, and I really like that dynamic.
So your role in the business? Are you just what's your role in the business right now?
So now, my mom, my sister, the management team, they take care of operations, and I take on a slightly more strategic role.
So you're the CEO and you're doing the
CEO,
strategy.
correct, correct.
So what you say, do you use EOS, Entrepreneur Operating System?
Oh, I use a Rockefeller Habits scaling up.
Oh, okay. Oh, because
Yeah,
you're in Accelerator.
yeah. I used to be an accelerator about 3-4 years ago. I spent 1 year in accelerator. Yeah, I and scaling up at that time was very complicated. But subsequently, I think in the last year we got a scaling up coach to come in to implement some of the, I would say, the business recipe. And it was a lot clearer, and it really trained the management team to think like a business owner.
Oh, that's amazing. So you are now the CEO, you're the visionary, you have a good management team. Where are you heading?
Where
Like
are we heading?
what are you looking forward to in your
Mm.
in your company, in your life? Like what do you what's your next steps?
Mm. Okay, so if you talk about size and revenue wise, we hope to 3x our business. If
Nice.
you talk about impact, I think one thing that really resonates with me and keeps me going every day is the feeling of making people feel special, loved, and cherished on their birthday. That one is very meaningful for me, and I have a story behind that. I have a very good friend. This is very very dear to me, and she always tell me on her birthday she doesn't want to celebrate birthdays.
Right.
But on her birthday, I just still decided to celebrate her birthday in front of like a bunch of people, like 40 people. So I'm the worst kind of friend you have. You have. Yeah. So what I did was um I made a very simple cake for her. A round cake, and then I printed a sexy photo of her that I took of her in Sentosa in the shower.
In where? In Sentosa,
In the
Sentosa
shower.
Island?
Yes, in the shower.
Right.
A sexy photo of her in the shower.
In the shower. Okay.
Yes, correct. And then I presented the cake to her on her birthday, and she was laughing like her head's off, lah, right? And after the celebration, she came to me and she said, "Hey, you know what? Actually, we've been friends for a long time. I've always knew that you run a bakery, but I never understood the impact of the cake on the celebrant. And today I finally understand. It is to make someone feel so loved, so special, and so cherished to you. And it reminds us of our friendship together, our memories together. And that's something that I hope to achieve through the cakes. It's to remember people of all the memories, the friendships, and the love that's forged together. And that
Oh,
special moment is something that one will remember for life. Mm.
I totally resonate with that. So who makes your cake when it's your birthday? How do you feel loved and cherished?
Okay, so very ironically, right? Actually, on my birthday, I just want to hide in the corner.
You just want to hide in the corner? Wait, that is ironic.
It's ironic, right? But
Right.
yeah, better to be honest.
Oh, I understand that. I just realized last year I went to the Korean spa by myself for my birthday. Get scrubbed, get
Yeah.
massaged. You eat like the tofu soup in a robe.
Yeah,
That's what I did for my birthday.
that's me too.
Yeah, but you know what? Sometimes I'm sure what was your most favorite cake that was made for you?
My most favorite cake would be our chocolate cake because that's how I first started. Yeah, that
Oh,
was the flavor that I really wanted to perfect. And now that's my favorite cake. We don't use any sugar and we bake it. It's soft, it's moist, it's fudgy. It's everything that I would want in a chocolate cake.
How do you sweeten it?
Um, there is so we use 55% dark chocolate couvertures. Yeah, and the sugar comes from there.
Just the couverture, the chocolate.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, I love that.
You must try it one day when you
I
come.
will when I come to Singapore. Now, I have a question for you. So, what was the impact of, like, if you had any, for COVID, like in terms of supply chain? Were you shut down? Was there impact in, like, whether getting ingredients, etc.?
Okay, so supply chain did not hit us very deeply. But if you talk about shutting down, yes, we were shut down for about 1 or 2 months. There were a lot of problems regarding refund, the back and forth with customers. But on hindsight, all of these were small issues. They were small issues that we could ride over, worked a bit harder, but that's fine. Operationally, we always firefight from time to time during that period, especially. Um, but I think COVID did good for the entire sweets business. People couldn't travel, and the next thing that they could self-care and pamper for themselves were to buy sweets. So they buy care packs, they bought sweets, and I think it really accelerated the entire industry on a whole. So it happened in Singapore, and I think it happened to a lot of our neighboring countries as well. So I'm not sure about, in the US, was it the same?
Oh, it was the same with us.
All right,
Except it
right. So it did
shifted.
well.
Yeah, it shifted the business from a more retail to a wholesale because people started shopping in groceries. In the US, they shut down a lot of the small businesses. Not every state, but it's all different, right? Every state was different. Some states, Washington is one of them, not too stringent. I'm not going to complain. A lot of the small businesses were closed, like a lot of restaurants. Not us. We were considered essential. So our business shifted to a more wholesale kind of model because people were not having parties because the venues were shut down. There were limitations on gatherings, etc. But there was some impact of supply chain, right? So because shipments couldn't come in from Europe, we get our chocolates from Belgium, those kinds of things. There were some, or some ingredients had to be switched out. So that's what we had. Well, that's what we experienced. But overall, yeah, we weathered the storm pretty well.
Yeah.
So I agree.
So I once had a friend who shared that with me. If you have sales, 50% of your problems are solved. And yeah, I agree. So and during COVID, 50% of our problems are solved. Now it's that 50% are operational problems that we had to deal with, and that's okay.
Yeah, I was just mostly worried about my team, right? The health of my team, and
Yes.
making sure that everybody was healthy, their families were healthy, that my family, my kids, that weighed a lot more than sales for me. I just wanted to make sure everybody was good. I worried a lot about whether or not people were going to get sick or whatever. So I did everything I could as much as I could, to just mitigate the risk of people getting ill. But we didn't know what we didn't know, so whatever, we kind of just rolled with the storm, and every decision was, is my staff going to be safe? That's what it was. So, and overall, it was an experience, and it's like any other. So, yeah.
100% agree with whatever you shared.
Yeah. Well, as we come to a close, I've learned a lot. Thank you so much about posting, educational stuff, and yeah, I've learned so much. I wanted to just ask a couple more questions. Like, like, who was your, like, key mentors as you moved on in your business, and what was the greatest piece of advice that you were given that you could share with others?
Oh, greatest piece of advice. Okay, so let me also again answer the question in parts. I have had a lot of mentors through this journey, and I think I will continue to have a lot more. I think that's just how I built, right? Where I feel like if people have already walked the journey, then don't need to reinvent the wheel. Get
Yes.
help, especially for things that you're weak at. So at the start, my first mentors, they were their background were in digital marketing. They taught me how to do digital marketing. And then later, subsequently, I have met many wise mentors who taught me how to run a business, and become a better person. So these were very valuable lessons that I've gathered over the last 5 to 8 years of entrepreneurship. Um, I I don't have the best advice I that I was given, but I think one very memorable thing that someone told me recently is his definition of the best leader. So there are many definitions of great leaders, right? But he was sharing his definition of the best leader is someone who is a visionary that is able to do three things, right? The first one, he's a visionary and he's able to predict what is coming. Number two is he's able to delegate the work on hand. And number three is to repeat step 1 and 2 and repeat and repeat and repeat. And I think it could not have been more beautifully said, right? Because ultimately, entrepreneurship is about a great idea put into action and executed well with the right people.
Right. Absolutely. I love that. I agree with that.
Yes.
My superpower is
you.
being psychic. Like I can tell. Like I'm like, all right, this is gonna be a bad one, or it's gonna be fine. Like no. But if you were to my last question, if you were to speak to your younger self, like what would you tell her?
Well, this is hard. It's hard. Oh, I think I always had a problem with delegating. I always had a problem with doing everything myself so that I mean, from two aspects, right? Number one is because I'm so used to doing everything myself during the home baking days. And number two is because I constantly want to help other people. And because I'm always working at that under lightning speed when I was at home, then, when I see a froster frost and he needs help, I'll rush over to help me. I'm always jump into problems. So now if I were to tell my younger self, I would tell her to work smart, not work hard, and delegate more. People are multipliers. And if you let people be empowered and take ownership of their role, magic will happen.
I love it. You're the third podcast guest who has said that. You are. But it doesn't have to be this hard. You don't have to make life so hard.
Yes.
That's a great message. And as women, we overfunction because that's our role, right? Where we take care of people, and we overfunction when people can take care of themselves. And people,
wow. Well, now you inspire me. Yeah, that's true. Because as females, our innate function is very nurturing, taking care of people. But realizing that actually as a leader, you don't have to jump into everything. Right. That when you let people take care of themselves, it can be very empowering and magic will happen. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll find their own way. I learned that from mothering my 2 children who are now young adults.
So it looks like I need to get a child.
Yeah, you don't need to get a child, but you could learn from me as you met my son in Manila.
Right. The handsome one.
The handsome one with the curly hair. So, May, thank you so much for being on my podcast. I so appreciate it. I hope to see you. Where are we going to see each other next? Tokyo.
Yes, I'll be going to Tokyo.
Okay.
Yep, then I'll see you then.
I'll see you then.
And thank you for doing this with me at 11 p.m.
Yes, you're very welcome. Thank you so much for being on my podcast and being my first international podcast guest.
My pleasure.
Have fun in Singapore, and hopefully
Same to
you'll
you.
visit me in Tacoma. And I will go visit you, and maybe we'll do a video
Yep.
tour of your bakery.
Let's do that.
Okay. Thank you, my friend.
Yeah, and sweet dreams to you.
Oh, thank you. And have a good high tea, which is
Yep.
or lunch if you haven't had
Right.
lunch yet.
Right. All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
See you. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Celebrity Gourmet Podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.